Tonight, we're going to be learning Maseches Shabbos Daf Kuf Yud Ches and Kuf Yud Tes Amud Aleph. There are a lot of very short Agadata-esque type of comments. Some of them have halachic implications, some of them don't. But certainly, as it relates to Shabbos Kodesh, it certainly reorients and grounds and focuses us on that which is essential about certain halachic aspects of Shabbos. And as well, certainly the hashkafic components of them. So we're going to get started. We're on the bottom of Kuf Yud Zayin and Beis. We have a lot of ground to cover. Kuf Yud Ches and Beis is long. Kuf Yud Tes Amud Aleph is long. So I'll be moving at a little bit of a faster clip to try to stay within our 15-minute mark. We are about 8 lines or so from the bottom, and we're starting with the words Amar Rabbi Abba, 8 or 9 lines up. Amar Rabbi Abba, 3 lines, 2 lines before the widest lines. It seems from the Gemara that we have a drasha mefureshes that we are obligated to use two loaves of challah, and that's in fact a machlokas poskim about whether or not having lechem mishnah is a din d'oraisa or a din d'rabbanan. That's a fascinating idea, to have 2 pieces of bread. Unbelievable idea. We paskin halacha l'maisa that it is a din d'rabbanan. It's a mitzvah d'rabbanan, though the Taz on the Shulchan Aruch does quote the Shita that it is a din d'oraisa. Amar Rav Ashi chazina lei Rav Kahana denuka tarte ubatzachada, that Rav Ashi said he saw that Rav Kahana would take 2 loaves of bread and he would be botzeya, he'd only cut one of them. Amar, based on what pasuk? Lik 2, ksiv, the pasuk says that you should gather, meaning you don't have to eat 2 necessarily, but you do have to have 2. Amar Rav, next line, Reb Zera, hababatza akula shirusa. Rashi here explains that he would cut very large portions for people to eat so that they'd have a sufficient amount of bread to eat over the course of the whole meal. The Gemara raises a concern with this. First of the longest lines, Amar le Ravina le Ravashi, sanusa. You're going to look like a glutton. You're eating such large pieces of food. You look like a behemoth. How could you do that? Amar le, he responds, no, it's not so bad to cut the big pieces. What did he say? Kevan de kol yomalo avid v'ha'idna huda avid. Because in general, you don't cut large pieces like that. Only today, now that it's Shabbos, you cut large pieces. Therefore, lo mechse karav sanusa. It doesn't look like you're a glutton, and it would be considered appropriate according to the Shita of Reb Zera. Just a brief interruption is that the poskim from here really, and the Maharshal and the Gra on the heels of the Maharshal were of the opinion that you were supposed to cut through both pieces of bread. This idea is mentioned in the poskim, but not mentioned in the Shulchan Aruch. So those who follow the shitas of the Gra would cut through both pieces of bread. And one other piece, of course, that we know is that on Friday nights we use the bottom loaf, and on all other times we use the top loaf. Just so that we have a little bit of framing. Let's continue. Ravami v'Ravasi ki mikla lehu rifta de eruva. When they found the food that they had used for an eruv chatzeros, when they had found the or an eruv, whatever it was, eruv tashilim, whatever it was, when they got that bread, then sharu ilave. They wanted to make a bracha on it. That's what Rashi points out. Sharu means maschilin. They would start eating that food. Amre, what was the reason why they wanted to eat this bread? Because because we had already done one mitzvah with this, in that we had used this for an eruv lis avid ba mitzvah achrina. So let's use it for another mitzvah as well. The bread was already used once for one mitzvah. Let's carry it over. A beautiful idea. So let's continue here at the 2 dots, 4 lines from the bottom. Kate said naflat leika. We were talking about a case, of course, where there was a fire in our Mishnah. And this was the Mishnah that was talking about how much food you're supposed to eat. So then we have a big machlokes here in the Tanaim between the Rabbanan and Rav Chidka. Says Gemara Tan Rabbanan Kama Sudos Chayav Adam Lechol b'Shabbos. How many meals is one obligated to eat on Shabbos? Tanakama answers Shalosh. Rav Chidka Amar Omer Arba. End of the Tanaic source. Amar Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan says V'Shnehem Mikra Echad Darshu. They're both basing themselves on one pasuk. What is the one pasuk that they're basing themselves on? That is the pasuk of Vayomer Moshe. Moshe said, let me just get it from here. Vayomer Moshe, Ichluhu Hayom ki Shabbos Hayom laHashem Hayom lo simtzau basadeh. That's what the pasuk says. Reb Chizki, and there it says the word Yom 3 times in the pasuk. So Reb Chidka savar hani tlasa Hayom levar miurta. Reb Chidka was of the opinion that the 3 times that one is, when it says 3, your word Yom 3 times, it's only the ones that are during the Yom. But the one that was the night was an additional one, so that's 4. So you'd have Suda Shlishis, you'd have the Suda Shniya would be by Shacharis, and then you'd have Suda Shlishis and Malav and Malka. So those were the three plus Friday night. That's how Rav Chidka got to 4. But Rabbanan Sabre Bahade de Urta, Rabbanan said that no, the 3 includes the night prior as well, Friday night dinner, and therefore they held a total of 3. Machlokas Tanaim. Tanan, let's see which one makes more sense to us. Nafla Deleka Belele Shabbos. We learned about this already. That let's say that Rahman al-Litzlan, there was a fire on a Friday night. So then what does the Mishnah there say? Matzilin mazon shalosh seudos, my lav delo ochal. Doesn't it imply that, isn't it a possibility that you hadn't eaten the meal yet, and yet it still says 3, which seems to be a proof for the sheet of the Rabbanon that there are only 3. Says the Gemara, lo, it could be that you already ate the meal when the fire started. The Mishnah doesn't say one way or the other when the fire started. So we don't know which sheet is right or wrong from there, no raya. But the Mishnah continues, Shachris matzil and mazon shtei sudos by the morning. The halacha is that if there's a fire, you get to save 2 meals. Asks the Gemara the same question, my lav delo achal. Maybe we should imply that it's like the Rabbanon who hold that there's a total of 3, and after you ate your Shachris meal, it's only 2 left. Lo, the achal, maybe you ate it and there's still 2 left. So you ate the Friday night and Shabbos morning, and now you still can collect another 2. That's like Rav Chidka. So that's still not a raya. We don't yet know. We don't yet have enough to determine who holds what. We don't yet have enough to know whether or not we hold like the Rabbanon, who hold that there are 3 Seudos on Shabbos, or whether or not we hold like Rav Chidka that there are 4. Continues the Mishnah, 3 lines down on the top of Kufya Chesem and Aleph, Mincha Matzil and Mazon Suda Achas. Once it's time for Mincha, you can only save 1 meal. Same question again, trying to support the Rabbanon. My lav de lo achal. Maybe you didn't eat Shalosh Shudas yet, and then there's 1 more, so the 2 prior plus 1 is 3. That's the Rabbanon. Says the Gemara, lo de achal. No, maybe you already ate it, and you're still allowed to take out 1 more, which is the sheet of Rav Chidka. In short, we don't know. Then asks the Gemara a powerful question. Wait a minute, but at the end of that Tanaic source, what does it say? Rabbi Yossi Omer La'olam, really, Matzilin Mazon Shalosh Seudos. Really, I don't agree with the Tanakama who says you get to save 1 at night, 2 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. I say you get to always save 3. Michlal, the fact that Rabbi Yossi holds that you can always collect 3, that implies that the number of meals that you're supposed to collect in general is 3 and not 4. It says the Gemara Mechlal, the Tanakama Savar, the Tanakama Shalosh Svirale. It must be that the Tanakama Taka holds that there's only 3 meals. It says the Gemara, you're right. You're correct. Our Mishnah is not like the opinion of Rav Chidka. Taka, we hold this way that Ladina, one is obligated as a mitzvah derabbanan to eat 3 meals on Shabbos. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah writes, we learned that when a person has access to 2 meals, they should not take food from a tamchui. A tamchui, Rashi points out, is a large pot of food that's cooking, where poor people would go. It's kind of like a soup kitchen. They would go to pick up food that was ready for right now. Mazon arba asar, if you had over the course of a week, if you had enough meals for 2 meals every day, 7 days a week, 2 meals a day is 14 meals, then lo yitol min hakupa. Now the kupa is different than the tamchui. The tamchui was, as mentioned, just a pot of food that you can take from. But the kupa was basically, that wasn't a soup kitchen, that was like a pantry where you would pick up a food for the whole week. And there, the din is that you were allowed to take food as long as you didn't have 14 meals. So by the kupa, so it says more money. That number doesn't make sense according to anyone. Remember our machlokes that we're discussing is that the Tanakama holds that there are 3 meals that we're chayav to eat on Shabbos, and Rav Chidka holds 4. So if you have 6 days of week times 2, so then Shabbos is 3, we should have 15 according to the Tanakama. Or if you're Rav Chidka who holds that there are 4 meals on Shabbos, then where does this number 14 come from? 14 is not a real number. According to both Deos, the number doesn't make sense. It says Gemara money, lo Rabbanan v'lo Rav Chidka. And if it was the Rabbanan, they hold that on Shabbos you get 3 meals. So 6 days a week you get 2 meals, that's 12. On Shabbos you get 3, that's 15. So that doesn't work out because the Mishnah here says 14, and it should be 15 according to the Rabbanan. But according to Rav Chidka, who's of the opinion that there are 4 meals on Shabbos, so then the din is that it should be that there are 16 meals and not the smaller number of meals of 14 as listed in the Mishnah. Answers the Gemara, La'olam Rabbanan. Really, what we're going to say here is that we hold like the Rabbanan. And what do we do about the fact that the Rabbanan really should say 15 meals? Because 6 days of 2 each plus Shabbos, which is 3 according to the Rabbanan. How do they get to 15? The rabbis would say, they say to this person, the meal that you were planning to eat on Motzei Shabbos, you should eat on Shabbos. So consolidating the meals into one, from 3 to 2, and what that basically does is it allows the number of meals to go down to only 2 a day, thereby making it 2 on Shabbos as well, and that's how the Rabbanan will get to the number 14, and it works out great. So the Gemara says, "Lema Rabbanan hi v'lo Rav Chidka." Is it the only way we could learn this Mishnah in accordance with the sheet of the Rabbanan, who find a way to reduce what should be 15 meals a day down to 14 to match up to the guidelines of this Mishnah, and not Rav Chidka? Says the Gemara, "Afilu tema Rav Chidka." We could even say Rav Chidka. The first reduction would be to take the Motzei Shabbos meal and to merge it with Shalosh Shudas. Good. All right, that works out. That's how he gets down from 16 to 15. But remember, he started at 16 because he held 4 meals a day. So now how does he get down one more? Whatever you were planning on eating Friday morning, you should only have 1 meal that day. And that way makes the numbers work as well, where we're back down to 14. But the Gemara doesn't like this at all, this approach of Rav Chidka. Why? Because just about halfway down on Kuf Yud Ches Amud Aleph argues the Gemara that if you're going to explain Rav Chidka, that one of the ways we reduce the number of meals to get to 14 meals, which is 2 meals a day, if one of the ways to do that is to only eat 1 meal on Friday, which is on Friday night, says the Gemara, what, you're going to fast the whole day Friday? Let's talk about this time of year. Shabbos doesn't start until, Shki not until 8:30, 8:35. It's very late. You're not going to eat the entire day of Friday. It's a very long day. So says the Gemara, Ella, Hamani, you're right. Who is this Mishnah like? Rather, we're going to give a different approach entirely. Rabbi Akiva, he da'amar aseh Shabbos chachol v'al titzarech labrius, a line that is much discussed in many different avenues and in many different halachic sources and hashkafic sources. Rabbi Akiva said, in order to avoid being a burden on the people, you should only eat 2 meals on that Shabbos. You should lower the mitzvah d'Rabbanan on that day to match it. It's similar to the approaches that we tried to take in the name of both the Rabbanan and Rav Chidka, but this is a little bit more basic and simplistic, and the way that we answer up this Mishnah. Wait a minute, we have another Mishnah in Pochsen la'aniha over mimakom lamakom mikikar bepundion. Let's say that there's a poor person going from place to place. So he comes to your city. So the din is you have to give him a kikar, a loaf that is the size or the value of a pundion, when the market is a market that is midalad sayin v'sela. When the market says, sometimes markets say, like how many yen to the dollar. So here, what we're trying to say is how many sayin are there in a sela. So when the market is 4 sayin to a sela, that's when we say that the amount that you give the poor person is a kikar in the cost of a pundio. Okay, fine. Lon, what if he's sleeping there in the city? He's not just being over, but he's actually sleeping there. So then nostan lo parnasas lina. We also then give him that which he needs for the night. We'll discuss in the Gemara shortly what that means. V'im Shabbos. And if he's not just staying over on a weeknight, but he's staying over on Shabbos, nostan lo mazon gimel seudos. So then, what does this Mishnah say? 3 meals. Who is that? Shita like the Rabbanan. Lema, maybe we should say Rabbanan hi v'lo Rav Chidka. Maybe we should say that now we have a Rayla Davar. Because when a poor person is going from one city to the next and he comes over and stays over Shabbos in your city, so this Mishnah says that he's going to be obligated to receive 3 meals from the city. The Haraya, we hold like the Rabbanan. Says the Gemara, not necessarily true. Olam, Rav Chidka. We could even argue that it's like Rav Chidka who holds it there are 4 meals a day. So why did the Mishnah say that he only gets 3? Because he showed up with Friday night dinner. He didn't know what he was going to do for the rest of the meals of Shabbos. So maybe Rav Chidka is saying, yes, you get 3 because you already had 1. And 3 plus 1 is 4, just like Rav Chidka recommended is the mitzvah d'Rabbanan of meals on Shabbos. The Amrinan lay. If the city would say, he checks in at the food pantry, they're going to give him food. They say, okay, what'd you bring with you? He said, I only have 1 meal. Fine, we're only going to give you 3. Eat the one that you have with you. We don't have to extend ourselves beyond what you already have. You already have the 1, and you hold, and let's say we're going to go within the world of Rav Chidka that he holds 4 meals. We'll give you the subsequent 3 in order to make sure that you have enough to get through Shabbos. Says the Gemara, so you're going to take his only meal. Azil, Berekan Azil, you took the 1 meal that he was going to take on the road, I mean, come on, like you can't send the guy off hungry. That's not right. That's not a good Jewish mother. You got to feed the person. So answers the Gemara, you're right. When he leaves on Sunday morning, we also give him nachamil. We give him more food so that he's not going to go empty-handed. My parnasas lina, when we said earlier that someone who sleeps over in a city, that we, the city, are obligated to provide that person with parnasas lina. What's parnasas lina? Answers the Gemara, bringing us to the two dots, Amar Papa, puria, a bed, uve sadja, and to make sure that he has sheets. We have to make sure the person has a comfortable place to sleep. That brings us to the two dots, 2/3 of the way down. Kuf Yirches Amar Aleph. Let us keep moving. Tana Rabban, and the rabbis taught us. Ki'aros she'achal behen arbis madichin lechol behen shachris. Let's say you only have one set of dishes, no plasticware. So Friday night you eat on your dishes. Can you wash them for the morning? What halachic aspect is this engaging? This is asking the question about hachana. Now we know that one is not allowed to prepare from Shabbos to weekday, but are you allowed to prepare from Friday night to Shabbos day, from Shabbos day to Shabbos afternoon? Excuse me, just some hiccups. Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis say the ka'aros she'achal behen arbis, if you use the dishes on Friday night, madichin lechol ben shachris. The halacha is that you are allowed to wash those dishes to be used the next morning. That's not considered to be hachana. It's not considered to be hachana because it's all part of the same Shabbos. What about the dishes for shachris? Shachris, if you use those, but you still need them for shalashudas, then the din is that that's also not hachana madichin. You can wash those dishes. Le'echol bahen batzohoraim madichin le'echol bahen b'mincha. Mina mincha ve'elech shuv eino madiach. The halacha is that once you've eaten shalashudas, so then you have no right to wash those dishes because you're not going to use the plates anymore. You already ate your requisite number of meals. Adds the Gemara at the end of this source in the Tanaim, Aval, Kosos v'kisonios utzluchios madiach v'holech kol hayom kulo. When it comes to things that you drink from, pitchers, cups, those you can take a wash dishes from on Shabbos. Why? Says the Gemara, Asvara, Lefi she'ein keva l'shasiya. Because nobody knows when they're going to need to take a drink. You might get thirsty after you eat shalashudas, but before it gets dark out. This does raise a halachic issue that once it hits shkia and you've already benched from shalashudas, the din is that one should really try not to eat between that time and the time that they hit Havdalah. The poskim discuss what happens if a person has yet to say Havdalah and their mamish parched. So then some of the poskim, I believe, Rav Moshe writes this in the Tshuba that the din is that one is allowed to have a drink of water only with a shahakol, of course, it's not stam. You're allowed to drink water prior to Havdalah, but otherwise we do try to avoid that. So that's what the Gemara here says, that one is allowed to wash those dishes, provided that they're cups and glasses and pitchers, because again, they're ein keva l'shisiya. People want to drink something at random hours of the day. It doesn't follow the pattern of meals. Says the Gemara, and now we're going to be getting into some remarkably powerful ideas as it relates to the Seudos of Shabbos, ones that should give us chizuk and one that should hopefully inspire us to be mechazik us to keep some of these halachos more stark. Amar Rav Shimon ben Pazi, Amar Rav Yeshua ben Levi, Mishum bar Kapara. Kol ha-mekayim shalosh seudos b'Shabbos. Anyone who fulfills all 3 meals on Shabbos, nitzal mishalosh poranios. A person will be saved from 3 terrible things. Mechevlo shel Mashiach, from the difficult phases of Mashiach. Midina shel Gehenim. Wow. A person who keeps properly 3 meals on Shabbos, they are saved from the din of Gehenim. What a powerful idea. Umi Melchemes Gog uMagog, and as well in the precursor war to the Yemos Mashiach, that one will be saved from that as well. Mechevlo shel Mashiach, how do we know? Based on 2 psukim. Ksiv hachayom v'chziv hasam. Hine anochi sholech lachem es Eliana v'lifnei bo vayom. Medina shal Gehenim. How do we know that we're going to get saved just by eating these 3 meals? How that we'll be saved from the din of Gehenim? Ksiv hachayom v'chziv hasam yom evra hayom hahu. Okay, that's a pasuk that proves that. Next, Melchemes Gog uMagog. How do we know that by keeping the 3 meals of Shabbos it will be saved from Melchemes Gog uMagog? Answers the Gemara, Ksiv hachayom u'chziv hasam b'yom ba'gog. So these psukim all indicate that we will be saved from that. And in fact, let's continue with yet another idea, another very powerful idea. Amar Rav Yochanan Mishum Rav Yossi Kol ha'ma'aneg es haShabbos nosten lo nachala b'limit tzarim. Anyone who has oneg Shabbos, we'll discuss some of the details of that soon, nosten lo nachala b'limit tzarim, they will get an inheritance with no bounds. No boundaries, unadulterated onek. It's going to be remarkable. A nachala, huge inheritance. Shene'amar, as the pasuk says, as tisaneg al Hashem b'hirkavticha al Abba Masei Arts Ve'echalticha Nachalas Yaakov Avicha V'Gomer. Lo Avram, that we're not. It says like Yaakov. It's not like Avraham, Shekasu Bokum Hisalech Ba'aretz Le'orka, that you're going to go see the length of the land. The Lo Yitzchak, and why does the pasuk say Yaakov? It's not like Yitzchak either. Shekasu Bo Ki L'chol Zaracha Tenes Kol Ha'aretz Osael. Says Rashi Ha'aretz Osael V'Sula. That's all you're going to get is just those parts of the land. Elaki Yaakov, by Yaakov he got the whole land. Shekasu Bo for Ras Yom V'Kedma V'Tzafon V'Negba. So that's what the pasuk says, is you'll get that nachala. Just to go back for a second for an extremely important and somewhat less known halacha, that what does it mean to be Mekayim a Su'uda? What is the din of eating bread? So this is a discussion in the poskim that we know we have to eat a kezayis, bichdei achilas pras, to be chayiv in benching, and to be yotzei a Su'uda. In order to reach the threshold whereby you are yotzei the Su'uda, so then you have to eat some bread, or matzah, the equivalent, something that's hamotzi. There are various types of breads. If you have different diets, whatever the case, it doesn't have to have sugar in it. You're going to have matzah, which has very, very little going on in there. But the din is that one has to be yosei su'uda. So by Friday night and by Shabbos day, we're more rigid. There we say that one is obligated to eat a kezayis of bread. Let's call it approximately whatever the equivalent of one slice of white bread would be. And it has to be done b'chdei achilas pras, within a very short span of minutes. There's a machlokas haposkim about how we define b'chdei achilas pras, the time in which you have to eat that kezayis. But if you slowly nurse a piece of bread over an hour, not only are you not yotzei your Sudas Shabbos, you're not even allowed to bench. So you run into some serious halachic questions there. So that's why we should be very careful when we are starting a Sudas Shabbos to make sure that we quickly eat that equivalent of a kezayis, to make sure that we're yotzei both the mitzvah derabanan of Sudas Shabbos, and as well to trigger the mitzvah deoraisa of Birkas Hamazon. Continuing in the Gemara, Kuf Yud Chesem and Beis, 5 lines down from the top of the page, of Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar Nitzal Mishibud Malchios. In addition to being saved from the 3 things that we mentioned on the bottom of the previous Amud, we also get saved from Shibud Malchios, from subservience to other types of kingdoms. So the Psukim there support this idea that you'll be saved from Shibud Malchios as well. Amar Yehuda Marav Kol HaMe'aneges HaShabbos Nosen Lo Mishalos Libo. Wow, it's such a crazy idea. Anyone who's misaneg, we have oneg Shabbos. If we create that for ourselves, so then Nosen Lo Mishalos Libo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will answer whatever your heart wants. Unbelievable. It's a pasuk mamish. Those who have oneg toward Hashem, they can get what they want. But the pasuk doesn't say what the oneg is. Oneg ze eini yodea mahu. What does the pasuk mean when it says oneg? Answers the Gemara. Kshehu omer v'karasa l'Shabbos oneg. So then we see in another pasuk, have omer ze oneg Shabbos. The mame ango. What is the way that a person can show oneg Shabbos? Rabbi Yehuda Bereiter Rav Shmuel bar Shelas Mishmei de Rav Amar b'tav shel trodin, making a special dish of food v'dagim gedolim, larger fish v'roshei shumen, heads of garlic. Rav Chia bar Ashi Amar Rav, afilu davar mu'at, even if it's something small, a candy, a beef jerky, something small, something not inherently chashuv. U'lechavod Shabbos haso, and you made it, you saved it for kavod Shabbos. So then harei ze oneg, that's considered to be oneg. Maihi, what is this small thing? Says the Gemara, Amara Papa Kasa de Harsana. This is a small type of fish. Rashi says 3 lines from the top. Tibur Hamaskal Kasa de Harsana. Dagim Kitanim and Tuganim. They're fried small fish. Bishuman in oil. Kirbehin with their innards. Uvekemach with a little bit of flour. Now, when I hear someone describe that, that's not something that's appealing to me. Do I have to eat Kasa de Harsana for Oneg Shabbos? So the Mishnah Berurah already deals with this question, that someone who doesn't like fish and they have a different Oneg, so then they can have a different Oneg. This is just what happened to have been prevalent in their day and is still somewhat prevalent now. It's where the custom of eating gefilte fish comes from, though the gefilte aspect of it is because there's no bones to avoid issues of borer. But fish is a very commonplace thing, and if you happen to like fish, then it's appropriate to have it on Shabbos meals, of course, being aware of all of the halachos of not commingling fish with meat at the table, unless you're Sephardic, because Sephardim don't hold that fish and meat are problematic. Sephardim hold that fish and milk is a problem. They would never eat a tuna milk. Let's continue. Says the Gemara, 1/3 of the way down. Anyone who keeps Shabbos properly, even if a person were to have worshipped avodah zarah mamish, like in the generation of Enosh, They get mechila. Shneimar ashrei enosh yasezos, and the pasuk adds later v'gomer mechalelo al tikri mechalelo ela machul lo. You will be forgiven for keeping Shabbos properly. That is reason enough to keep Shabbos, if nothing else. Forgetting all of the ancillary social benefits of not having cell phones and being with our children, though in COVID we've seen quite a bit of our families respectively, but still the idea is a stunning idea. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rabbi, Malay Shamru Shabbos, Yisrael Shabbos Rishona, had it only been that the Jewish people kept the first Shabbos that we were commanded, Lo Shalta Behen Uma Velashon. No nation could have overtaken the Jews. Amar Vahibu Yom Hashvi Yatzu Min Ha'am L'Kod Uchsi Basrei Vayavo Amalek. Amalek showed up because we did not do our part. So we lost that opportunity. Amar Rav Yochanan, famous Gemara, right, the last of the shortest lines on this page. Amar Rav Yochanan, Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. If all of the Yidden would keep 2 Shabbos in a row properly, Kihel Chasan, Miyad Nigalim, immediately the Jewish people would be redeemed. Shneimar Ko Amar Hashem L'Sarisim Asher Yishmeru Es Shabbosai, plural. Uchsiv Basrei, and then the pasuk says afterwards, Vav Yosim Al Har Kachiv. Yosim El Har Kachiv Gomer. Alabai. 2 Shabbos in a row of all the Jews keeping it, Mashiach would come on a dime. Third line of the wider lines. Rav Yossi, Yehei Chelki me'ochle shalosh seudos b'Shabbos. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant me that my portion in life should be to be the one who eats 3 meals on Shabbos. Amar Rav Yossi, Yehei Chelki mi-gomrei halal b'chol yom. May I be one of the people who finishes halal every day. Says the Gemara, wait a minute. That's a strange thing to request. Aini, is that really what you want? If you're considered blasphemous if you say it every day. You say halal every day, then at some point it becomes so rote that it's not meaningful. Halal should be used under isolated circumstances. So says the Gemara, he doesn't mean halal like Asher Kiddushan mitzvah Siman Likras halal. What did he mean? 5 lines down in the widest lines, Kikar Minan Bipsuke de Zimra. What are we talking about? We're talking about a part of Psuke de Zimra. What part of Psuke de Zimra? Let's turn to Rashi. Rashi is about 10 lines or so from the top of the page. Dibur Hamaschel Psuke de Zimra. Rashi writes, Shnei Mizmorim, 2 paragraphs, Shel Hilulim of the Halalukas, Halalu as Hashem in Hashamayim, and Halalu Kel Bekodsho. These 2 are considered to be Halal B'chol Yom within a certain frame. And we should always strive for that. If a person taka runs out of time and they can't say all of Psuke de Zimra, then in order they should say Ashrei. And then if they have more time, they should say the 5 Halalukas. And some of it is because of this Gemara. This Gemara is quoted elsewhere in Shas, I believe. I remember seeing it somewhere. Nevertheless, that is what the Halal was that Rabbi Yossi was saying when he said that Sheyehei Chelki Migomrei Halal B'chol Yom. He was talking about Psuke de Zimra. Next, 5 lines down on the widest lines. I want to be one who prays with the dimdume from the word adom, from when the sky is red, both morning and night. Rashi highlights both morning and night. It is appropriate to daven that way. We know from Maseches Brachos we learn this. The davening kiv asikin, like the old veteran Yidden, they would daven when right as the sun broke the horizon. And that is the spitz time to daven. It's the perfect time to daven. It's not so simple. I heard Rabbi Ephraim Friedman Shlita gave a share in the beginning of COVID. He said, of course, it's obvious. Everybody knows that if it's possible, they should daven kivasikin during COVID. If you're anyways not going to a min, you should daven kivasikin. And in the summer, that's difficult. It's in the late 4s and early 5s. Not pasha. Amar Rav Zera Mikra. What's the pasuk that shows us that there's a mitzvah to be mispal and nimdu mechama? Says Gemara Yeruchim Shemesh V'lifnei Yerach Dor Dorim. That's the pasuk that indicates that it's a mitzvah to daven when the sky is red. Amar Rav Yossi Yechelki V'meisei B'chol Yimei Ayin. When he dies, he said he wants to die of stomach illnesses, not stomach. Why? Because most righteous people, most of the tzaddikim, when they die in this way of chole me'ayim. He said, if I'm going to die, I want to go out when I'm doing a mitzvah. It's very interesting. These 2 things are the same exact person talking. Which one was it? All of these are him. So a little hard to know exactly what he means here. You have to be ma'ayin in the Rishonim to see exactly what he means, but these are just ideas about the ideal way to die, as it were. Is it from stomach illness? Is it on the way? Did he mean to say both at the same time? Let's continue 2/3 of the way down. It's better to bring in Shabbos in Tveria, which is a lower location geographically, and therefore it appears to be darker because there's other things blocking the sun. You get to start Shabbos earlier. In other words, Umi Motzi'e Shabbos B'tzipori. Tzipori was on an elevated level from sea level, relatively speaking, and we want to go there because there, the only way that you could ever end Shabbos, it doesn't look so dark there because you're on the top of a mountain. So then you can only do it when there's 3 medium stars, and Shabbos will end later. Namely, Rabbi Yossi was saying, let Shabbos last as long as is reasonable, as long as you can. But this particular Gemara is reminiscent of a shaila that was asked of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Somebody asked of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach if a woman did a bedika in the bottom of Har Nof, and the bottom of Har Nof the sun set, and the bedika was bad. Can she drive up to the top of Har Nof, to the top of the mountain, and redo another bedika where the sun is still visible? This was a shaila that's brought up in the poskim. Fascinating, no clear answer, but just a great shaila. And this was effectively that, but in the reverse of trying to keep Shabbos as long as is possible. Okay, let's continue. I want to be the one who gets people to sit down in the Beis Medrash. I don't want to be the one to announce that it's time for everybody to leave the Beis Medrash to go somewhere else. I want to help people learn. I don't want to stop people from learning. I'd rather be the person who makes all the money than the person who gives out all the money. I'd rather be the fundraiser instead of the one who hands it out. The cheshbonos, to hand out money, is so complicated. Famously, the Rambam has various levels of how the best way is to give out tzedakah, just not a pashut mitzvah to fulfill. Wow, lofty level. Rav Yossi said he wanted to be the person where people were choshed him, and he was innocent. I read in Rav Aaron Leib Steinman's book that he used to say when people would put up posters about him in the negative, he wouldn't let his gabayim take it down. He said it was tremendous yisurim. I presume based on this Gemara that if someone is choshed you and you're taka innocent, so then it's memarek avonos. It's like yisurim that gets rid of a lot of bad avonos. Amar Papa lididi chashtan v'lo havabi. Papa said people said bad things about me, and the taka wasn't true. Next story. Amar Rabbi Yossi, next line. Amar Rabbi Yossi, chamesh be'ilos ba'alti. Rabbi Yossi said he was intimate with his wife 5 times. V'natasi chamisha arazim b'Yisrael. And I had 5 children who were compared to an erez, to a cedar tree, strong, remarkable people. Uman inun. Who are the 5 children that were the results of these 5 episodes of intimacy? Rabbi Shmuel b'Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Elazar b'Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chalafta b'Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Tilas b'Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Menachem b'Rabbi Yossi. Says the Gemara, granted that's 5, but I know that there's a 6th one. Va'ika Vardamis. Vardamis was also a student, was also a child of Rabbi Yossi. So why wasn't he counted? Why wasn't there 6? Answers the Gemara, Hainu Vardamis, Hainu Menachem. Menachem was the same thing. They just called him Vardamis. Why? Vardamis, because Shepon of Doma Navered, his face had very rosy cheeks. So his cheeks were a little bit red. So they called him Vardamis, so that, just a little nickname. Okay, Lemeimra, wait a minute, this raises a halachic issue. Rav Yossi was only with his wife 5 times, b'derech tashmish amita. That's impossible. Lemeimra de Rav Yossi mitzvahs ona lo kiyim. He didn't fulfill the mitzvah of ona. So first of all, Ladina, we as husbands have halacha l'maisa, an obligation to be available intimately for our spouses. And the Shulchan Aruch and Siman Reish Mem and Orach Chaim deals with the frequency with which one is obligated to be available. It's dependent on profession. By and large, the way that we typically assume in halacha is that there's 2 options. One option is twice a week is considered normal within the Shulchan Aruch, but there's also what's called the Onas Talmidei Chachamim, which is Milele Shabbos Lelele Shabbos, which is also a very beautiful idea. But that was the concern here, is that how could Rabbi Yossi say that he was only with his wife 5 times, B'tash Mishamita, for 5 children? What about the mitzvah of Ona? It's on a weekly basis. You can't just skip that opportunity unless a woman is mochelas. It's not our mitzvah. It's a mitzvah for us to be available for. It's not the mitzvah that there has to be tashmish. If she's mochelas, then the mitzvah is totally dissolved. So that's its own halachic sugya. One should be careful with this. It's dinei d'oraisa. So that's what the Gemara says here. This was the question. The Meimer de Rabbi Yossi mitzvah sono l'ukiyim answers the Gemara. Elaima chamesh be'ilos ba'alti v'shanisi. No, in an effort to have boys, he was boiled v'shana. That for those 5 children, he had tashmish amita twice in in short order, and that enabled him to have those boys, those 5 boys. Amar Rav Yossi miyamai lo karisi leishti ishti. I never called my wife ula shori shori, and I never called the ox that I have my ox ella leishti basi ula shori sadi. I always refer to my wife as basi, the woman who carries the home, and for a shore, I refer to the shore as sadi, my field. Amar Rav Yossi, about 12, 15 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Yossi, miyomai lo nistakalti b'mila sheli. Self-discipline. Never once did he look at his own bris milah. Says the Gemara, Eini, how can that be? We know that somebody else was given such a title of a remarkable thing, but his name became Rabbeinu HaKadosh. That was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Amrulei, the Rebbe, my taima karulach Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Why did people call you Rabbeinu HaKadosh? So he answered, Amar Luhu, miyomai lo nistakalti b'mila sheli. I never once looked at the Aver. I never once looked at the Makom HaBris. So if they said that about Rabbi Yehuda Nasi and he got the name of Rabbeinu HaKadosh, so why isn't Rav Yossi HaKadosh? We already see that accolade was given to somebody else, and if it was given to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, why wasn't it given to you as well? Answers the Gemara, because there was something unique about Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Rebbe, in regards to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, milsach risi hababe. There was another aspect to his self-discipline that he never once looked at his Aver. What was that? Says the Gemara, Shelo hichnis yado tachas avneto. He never put his hand below his belt. So he would keep his hands up and above his waist at all times. Again, a remarkable self-discipline. The walls of my house never saw the hem of my clothing. He was always super careful in the way he undressed and dressed, just maximal levels of tznius. Tznius doesn't mean that I'm all alone, so therefore there's no need to have any self-discipline with clothing. One should stay covered as much as they can, even in going to the bathroom. We learned about some of these dinim that one should be magala tefach in front, magala tefachayim in back. We try to minimize the amount that we try to minimize the amount that we reveal. So that's also just a very high level. I never violated my friend's words at all. How so? Says Rabbi Yossi, I know that I'm not a Kohen. However, if they were to say to me, go duchan, I would. Ani oleh, I'm going to go do that. This raises a lot of shilas. You're allowed to just walk up and make a bracha that only a Kohen's supposed to make. You don't have the mitzvah to duchan. So how can it be that that's the case? It's just a crazy idea, like that you can just do any mitzvah you want because his friends say so. So this generates some challenges that we have to just be wary about in the Rishonim. But let's continue in the meantime. I never said anything that I had to backtrack. I never said anything that I had to then say, sorry, I made a mistake, please excuse me. And that didn't happen to him. Amar Rav Nachman. And now we're shifting gears in language. Everything was Rav Yossi until now. And now these are the Tesi Li Gemaras, as they're referred to, which is Tesi Li, something I deserve something, I've done good. So let's get started. We're 7 lines from the bottom of the page on Kuf Tet Ches in the base. Amar Rav Nachman, Tesi Li de Kayamis Shalosh Seudos B'Shabbos. Magia Li, I should get a reward for Shalosh Seudos for eating all of those meals. Amar Rav Yehuda, Tesi Li de Kayamis Iyun Tefillah. Magia li, that I should get a reward because I studied Iyun Tefillah. Iyun Tefillah doesn't mean I daven slowly. It means I studied davening so that when I am davening, I understand davening. It's making a seder halimud in davening. There's a beautiful sefer called Olas Tamid, and therein he discusses this as well, that one should be kovea time to understand davening if it's not yet clear to you. Amar Rav Huna b'red Rav Yeshua teisi li de lo segina, that I never walked. Rav Huna said that I should get a reward for never going Dalet Amos Begilui Harosh, one of the primary Marim Makomos for covering one's head with a kippah, which of course we know is not a din derabanan, though one is obligated to do so during Shemona Esrei. That is Ladina. And in fact, Rav Moshe has a tshuva that if a person davens Shemona Esrei without a kippah, he may be obligated to repeat Shemona Esrei, even if it was done by accident. Rav Sheshes tasted de kayamis mitzvahs tefillin. So simple. You went to Shachris, Rav Sheshes, your mamish and Amora. You're praising yourself for going to put on tefillin? What does that even mean? Rashi is bothered by this. Take a look at Rashi to our left, about a centimeter up. Rashi, di Ramaskal de kayamti mitzvahs tefillin. No, it's not that he put on tefillin. It was shelo halach arba amos below tefillin. He didn't even go dalet amos without tefillin, ever. ever. That's an unbelievable thing. From the time he was a bar mitzvah boy, Mistama, until the time he died, he always wore tefillin during the daylight hours. He had to take it off to go to the bathroom. Fine, of course, under those circumstances, he's sick, he's not feeling well, he's going in the mikvah. There are scenarios, there are circumstances, but given the opportunity to do so, he would not have gone Dalet Amos without it. 4 lines from the bottom. Rav Nachman Tesili de Kayamis Mitzvah Tzitzis. Same. Give me a reward because I fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzis. Amarle Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef asked a question to another Rav Yosef. The Rav Yosef bereid to Rabbi, the son of Rabbi. Avuch b'mai zahir tfei. Which one was your father more makbid on, tefillin or tzitzis? So he answers, Amarle b'tzitzis. He said, my father, Rabbi, was more makbid on tzitzis. Yom achad, one day, havaka salik b'darga. He was climbing up a ladder. Ifsik lechuta. And one of the strings on the tzitzis tore while he was climbing the ladder. V'lo nachis, and he would not come down. He stood there on that rung. V'asa, v'lo nachis v'asa, kema de lo ramya, until he fixed it. He stood there until he was able to restring his tzitzis to make sure that they were yet again kosher. He would not walk Dalet Amos without kosher tzitzis. Beautiful idea. Rabbi Tesili the chazina tzurba merabanan the show in Maseches. When I see, says Abai, whenever I saw a Talmud Chacham finish a Masechta, so then what would he do? He would make a siyum. Avidna Yom Atava the Rabbanan, top line of Kufya Testament Aleph, I would mamish jump and dance. We'd have a siyum. We'd make a whole party. Amar Teisili Dichiyasa Tzurba Merabanan Lakamai Bedina. Whenever a great Talmud Chacham would come before me in the Bezdin, Rabbi was on the Bezdin, so then Lo Mezikna Reshe Abesadya, I would not put my head on my pillow Kimad Lo Mahapichna Bezechuse, until I could be Melamed Zchus on what that person did, the Talmud Chacham. Oh, this is only true by Talmidei Chachamim. So it says the Gemara, wait a minute, that apostles you from being a dayan. Amar Mar Baravashi, Psilna Leila Turba Merabana Ladina. That means you can't paskin shilas for Rabbanim because you are basically finding favor in them. You're not looking objectively. You're pushing so hard to be Melamed Tzchus. You're going lifnim Mishura Sadin. It's not reasonable for you to be a dayan. How could you see favorably? My time, or why can't you be a dayan? Dechaviv alai ki gufai. Because I love these people like I love myself. He said, I can't be a dayan for Talmidei Chachamim. I have such an ava for Talmidei Chachamim that if they're ever brought in a din Torah, I'm going to be Melamed Zchus on them. So count me out. Pull in the back of dayan from the bench. I am not going to be able to pass in these shilas. Unbelievable. Just a tremendous chavivus for Talmidei Chachamim. Rav Chanina me'ate fekoi apanya Demale Shabbos. So Rabbi Chanina on Erev Shabbos would wrap himself up in clothing and he would go out on Erev Shabbos. Omar, what would he say? Bo v'neitze likras Shabbos Hamalka. Let us go out and likras to greet Shabbos Hamalka, the Shabbos queen. Reminiscent of course, of the Lechadodi that was put together by Rav Al-Kabetz, who was actually buried right next to the Beis Yosef in Tzfat. Rav Yanai, last of the short lines, Rav Yanai Lavish Mane Male Shabbos. He would put on his special garments on Erev Shabbos. The Amar Boi Kala. Here, Mama should quote that of Shlomo Al-Kabetz grabbed from the Gemara and Kufya Tes here to put into the actual text of the Chadodi. So tomorrow night, on Friday night, when we say Boi Kala, you have to recognize that's Mamish, a quote from the Gemara that Rav Al-Kabetz put in. This was how Rav Yanai spoke. Rabba bar Rav Huna ikla lebe Rabba bar Rav Nachman krivu lehe tlas save tachia. These were these types of crackers that had a little bit of oil drizzled on them. Amar lehe, and who went to who? Rabba bar Rav Huna went to Rabba bar Rav Nachman. So one of the rabbis said to the other, Mihava yeditun. How'd you know I was coming? These are my favorite crackers. So he responded to him, Amur le miyadifas lamina. You think you're better than the Shabbos queen? This has nothing to do with you. I'm being mechabed Shabbos. I wasn't servicing you. Rabbi Abba went to a bunch of stores on Erev Shabbos. Zavan bitleisar astire pshite bisra bitleisa tavche. I'd go buy 13 pieces of meat from 13 butchers. Umeshalim le'atzinora dedasha, and I would have all of the money waiting for them at the door. The Amar Lahu Ashur Haya, quickly. So excited about Shabbos. Rabbi Abahu Hava Yossi Atachtaka de Shina. He was sitting on a stool that was made out of ivory. Moshif Nur, and he was lighting candles. Unclear from the Gemara what candles he was lighting. Were these candles Friday night candles or Stam? They were candles. Unknown. Rav Anan Lavish Gunda. He would wear this thing called a Gunda. Look to the right and a little bit lower, about an inch down. Dibur hamaschil lavish gunda, kli shachor, a garment that was dark. Leodia she'ayom eino kedei lihisnag b'chashivus. Today is not as important as tomorrow. He would dress down on Fridays in order to dress up in contrast on Shabbos. Okay, so it says the Gemara, the Tana de Rabbi Shmuel, and we learned this already, that the clothes that you wear in the week, they have to be different from the clothes you wear on Shabbos. The Gadim Shebishel Bahen Kedera LeRabo, the food, the clothing in which you cooked food for your Rebbe, Al Yimzog Bahen Kos the Rabo. Those are not the same clothes with which you should be serving your Rebbe wine. And obviously this is just a mashal. The clothes that you wear during the week should not be the same clothes that you wear on Shabbos. So whatever your garb is, you should have extra clothing and or different clothing that you wear on Shabbos. About 1/3 of the way down, Rav Safra Machrich Resha. Rav Safra, in preparation for Shabbos, would roast the head of an animal. Rava Malach Shibuta. Rava, we saw this already somewhere else. Rava salted a fish. Rav Huna Madlik Shrage. Rav Huna would light a whole bunch of candles. Rav Papa Gadil Psilta. He would weave together the wick for the Hadlakas Neros. Rav Chizda Parim Silka. Rav Chizda would dice up some vegetables, some beets. Rabba Rav Yosef. Matz l'chet sive, they would cut up wood to have throughout Shabbos. Reb Zera, mitzases sisuse, difficult tongue tie. So that is basically they would kindle fires. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Mekatef, Ayal Mekatef, nothing cute, pick things up, move things around for Shabbos. I want to put this over here for Shabbos to make it better. Let's move the couch over there, this chair over there. Make everything beautiful. Omar, he had the following svara. If I was going to bring over Rav Ami and Rav Asi for Shabbos, wouldn't I not kamayu? Wouldn't I move things around for them? So then alachas kama for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for Shabbos Malka. Says the Gemara, Bika de Amre, some say that this statement was made about Rav Ami and Rav Asi. Rav Ami and Rav Asi, mekatve ve'ayle, mekatve ve'nafke. They would carry things around throughout Shabbos to make sure that before Shabbos, I should say, they would prepare for Shabbos by moving things around. Amre, they said, Ilu ikla lan Rabbi Yochanan, looking back up another generation. If Rabbi Yochanan had been here, wouldn't we make things beautiful for him, pick things up, move things around? Absolutely. Yosef Mokir Shaveh. Yosef his name was Yosef. He was called Yosef Mokir Shaveh. He was the Yosef who loved Shabbos. That was his name. Was his nickname. Yosef Mokir Shaveh Hava. He loved Shabbos. Ahu Nachri b'Shivavuse Dava Nefishe Nichse Tuva. There was a Nachri, a non-Jewish person who lived in their neighborhood who was remarkably rich. Nefishe, he had a lot. Nichse, properties Tuva. A tremendous amount of property. Amar le Kalda'e, normally a Kalda'e is a reference to a Chaldean who would speak Aramaic and the language of Chaldean, which is similar to Aramaic. In this case, it's referring to someone who is an astrologer. That's what Rashi says here, about 4 inches below where we are. Dibur Hamaskel Kalda'e, Chozim B'Kochavim. He knew how to read the stars. Back in the Gemara, about halfway down, a little bit before that. Amre le Kalda'e, Kulhu Nichse Yosef Moker Shaveh. All of your properties will go to Yosef Mokir Shaveh Achilu. He's going to benefit from all of it. This is what the astrologer said to this very wealthy non-Jew in the community. So he got terrified because he believed in the astrology perfectly. We're not talking about Avodah Zarah here. We're talking about astrology that had some aspect of truth to it. And he believed it. Ozal. So what did he do? He took all of his money. Zavninhu lekulhu nichse. He sold everything. And he traded it in for Zavan Buhu Marganisa. He did it all for 1 gem. This gem was worth all of his finances, but he didn't want the cash sitting around. He wanted one thing that he could keep on his body. Osva Bisaine, and he put it on a hat that was on top of his head. He kind of stitched in the gem into the hat. Mavra, when he was going over a bridge, Afrache Zika, the wind blew, Shadye B'maya, and his hat fell off into the water, and it started going downstream. Vila Uha Kavra, a fish swallowed it. Askuha, someone caught it. Aisuha Panya Demale Shabsa, and someone brought it to the market to sell on Erev Shabbos. But it was so late in the day. Amre Man Zavin Ki Hashta, who's going to buy something so late in the day? There's a half hour until Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Amri Lahu Zilu Amtiyuhu Lagabe Yosef Mokir Shaveh. Go find Yosef who loves Shabbos to Rogil de Zav, and he'll spend as much money as he wants on Shabbos because you always get your money back that you spend on Shabbos. So says the Gemara, Amti Yuhane Hale, they brought it to him. Zavne, he bought it. Kare, when he cut open the fish, Ashkach be Marganisa, he found this remarkable gem, this gem that was worth all of the wealth of this Nachri who was in the neighborhood of Yosef. So what did he do with that? He took the coin and Zavne Bitlesar Elisa de Dinre de Dahava. And what he basically got was 13 atticfuls of gold, a remarkable sum of money. So that's what he did in order to cash out. Paga be'ahu saba. Ahu saba is sometimes, has been mentioned in the past, Ahu saba is sometimes a reference to Eliyahu Navi. Paga be'ahu saba omar mandi yozif shabsa pare shabsa. Anything that you invest in Shabbos, you get back. And in this case, the payout was remarkable. Next, V'amine Rabbi Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. Ashirim sheberetz Yisrael b'mahin zochen. What does it take for a person to become wealthy in Eretz Yisrael? Answers the Gemara, Bishvil Sheme Asrim, because they tithe, because they give Meiser. Shneimar Aser to Aser, Aser Bishvil Shetis Asher. If you give Meiser, you will be wealthy. You will make money. Shebe Bavel b'mahim zochen, wealthy people in Bavel. How did they merit to become wealthy people? There, when they gave honor to Torah, so that's how they earned their keep. The honor of Torah is a remarkable thing, and they got paid handsomely for it. What about the rest of us in America, in Canada, in France, and in Belgium, and all over the world? Where we live, giving kavod to Shabbos that is the best thing that we can do. And of course, the well-known famous line, more than the Jews have kept Shabbos, the Shabbos has kept the Jew, which is not a surprising comment to hear from the Gemara, that those who live in Chutz La'aretz will be given reward for keeping Shabbos, because that's what's going to keep us alive and has done so for many millennia. He said, I was once a guest in someone's house in Ludkia. They view the fun of this wealthy guy. They brought in front of him shulchan shel zahav, mashve shisha asar bnei adam, that could only be carried, a golden table that could only be carried by 16 people. Not only that, but on top of the table, v'sheish esrei shal shelo shel kesef k'vuospo. And there were 16 silver chains that were dangling from it. Ukiaros, there were plates, v'kosos and cups, v'kitonios and pitchers, utzluchios and platters k'vuospo. The table was laden mamish, unbelievably beautifully, in all gold and silver. All the foods in the world that you can imagine that were excellent, everything. So when they put it in front of him, everyone at the table stopped and said, Omrim, Lashem haaretz umlo'ah. Hashem gives us everything. This person knew his place. He would say about this golden table that was laden with food, everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. 15 years ago, when I was in Smicha, I sat at my Rebbe's Shabbos table, and I grew up in a southern home. You're not supposed to eat before the host eats. So you had to put your food on your plate if everybody's taking, but you wait. We all sat there. The Rebbe sat there. The room went silent, and he said, L'chavod Shabbos Kodesh. And then he started eating. It's such a beautiful Maisa, and similar here as well, recognizing our place, that we have a Shabbos to be mechabe. Amarti lo, he said, I said to this very wealthy person, B'ni, my child, how did you get to be so wealthy? What did he say? Amarli, Katzav, I used to be a butcher. Any animal that had a beautiful cut of basar, Amarti zo tehei l'Shabbos, I would save it for Shabbos. Amarti lo, I said back to him, Ashrecha shezachiso baruch hamakom shezikech lekach. You are blessed, and Hashem has blessed you. Amar le Kesar, the Caesar at the time said, the Rabbi Yoshua ben Chananya, this is going to be our last story for the night, I believe. And he said, the Caesar said to Yoshua ben Chananya, Mipnei matav shel Shabbos reichon nodef. Why does your Shabbos kitchen smell so good? You know, you live in a neighborhood, you walk up to someone's door, they're cooking for Shabbos, it's mein olam haba, it smells amazing. Omar lo, Rabbi Yoshua ben Chananya said back to the Caesar, Tavlin echad yesh lanu v'Shabbos shemo. We have a spice, it's called Shabbos. She'anu matilin l'socho b'reichon nodef. And we put it into the food and it smells amazing. So the Caesar wanted some. Omar lo, tein lanu heimenu. Give me a bottle of your Shabbos. I'd love to add it to my food. It smells incredible. Amar lo, kol mishamer es Shabbos mo'olo. Only if you keep Shabbos. V'she'enu mishamer es Shabbos ein mo'olo. But if you don't keep Shabbos, it's not going to help you. We are going to stop right here at Omar le Reish Galusa. And Hashem will pick up Motzei Shabbos. Wishing you all a beautiful, restful, and meaningful Shabbos. Have a beautiful night.
I want to add in on the